On that note, we are a group of community members who originally organized at the beginning of 2015-16 school year to address the unsafe conditions during drop-off and pickup of our children before and after school at Riverdale Elementary School. This is our second time presenting to the board. Today, our organization has created a Facebook page to make the public aware of its existing problems. We started our first petition, which received over 200 supporters. Our second one is now up to almost 300. We've handed out flyers throughout our community encouraging residents to fill out the area study for the Southeast Area Study for Campo, basically letting the DOT know what our concerns are in the area. We've attended multiple county commission meetings, commissioners meetings to become better informed on future growth and development plans that will affect Riverdale Elementary School. We presented during public comments at County Commissioners Board's meeting back in March of 2016. We created a Walk to School Day in coordination with the DOT and the Division of Public Health Active Routes to School program on October 28, 2015, which received the media coverage you just saw. We attended the Active Routes to School conference in November of 2015. We attended Riverdale Elementary PTA and Johnston County Board of Education meetings to voice our concerns directly to the school. We have attended public and private meetings with the DOT personnel. We've also communicated in person via email with Flowers Plantation representatives to determine who is responsible for the sidewalk and traffic safety infrastructure along Buffalo Road. We've communicated our concerns with elected officials in off-the-record meetings and networking arenas, actively campaigned for candidates who support smart growth in Johnston County. We've been in communication with current principal at Riverdale Elementary School, Janet Lebo, and we're currently working on a walk to school with the PTA at Riverdale Elementary School, which we encourage all of you to attend so that you can see for yourself how many sheriff and fire department personnel are required to ensure a safe walk to school happens. There's currently no safe active route to walk to the school. All this is an attempt to achieve the safety infrastructure that our children and community deserve. As you know, Riverdale Elementary currently educates 1,025 students. When we last presented in March of 2016, it was 982. Several thousand new homes are still forecasted to be built as part of the Flowers Plantation development over the next few years. Initially, we did extensive research in hopes of finding a master plan available to the public for future sidewalks, crosswalks, traffic lights, proper turning lanes that will be built to make the traffic conditions less hazardous in front of our school. Unfortunately, despite increased development and growth in the area, there were no plans shown in the Johnston County Comprehensive Transportation Plan or the North Carolina Department of Transportation planning documents that would indicate even an acknowledgement of the unsafe conditions. Riverdale Elementary has been in existence for over 11 years now. We can't comprehend how developers can continue to build homes at an exponential rate when the school and road infrastructure clearly cannot support it. It is the Johnston County Board of Commissioners who are responsible for the approval of this growth. I have personally been here over 2 years now, and it appears little, if any, open and transparent coordination or communication is taking place between the stakeholders in this community, most certainly not with the parents and community members at large. There is no evidence of a well-coordinated effort between Johnston County Schools, Riverdale Elementary, the DOT, the county commissioners, law enforcement, and Flowers Plantation developers. If there is a coordinated effort, the community and parents should be informed and invited to be a part of any conversation. I'm sure you all know Mr. Tim. He was the gentleman in the video. He was the volunteer who took it upon himself to direct the traffic during drop-off and pickup of students at Riverdale Elementary for 5 years. He was never officially sanctioned by the school and had no liability insurance to cover his efforts. His willingness to literally and figuratively put his neck out on the line for our children was taken for granted. The most recent car accident in front of Riverdale has reminded everyone how critical his efforts were for our safety. If you know anything about Mr. Tim, to say he was a selfless contributor to our community is an understatement. We miss him and we wish him the best. On February 24th, we attended a 2-hour meeting with Tim Little and Giles Harrell with the DOT. Their responsiveness and genuine interest in assisting us was refreshing. We are extremely happy to see the effort and detailed plan they have developed to resolve all immediate traffic safety problems that we had been fighting so hard to achieve. This just shows our, right here, efforts of the DOT with all the studies they've conducted and time spent to form a plan that is all-encompassing. It also further delays a shovel-ready project and the funding that Tim Little believed he would be able to secure if the plan was approved. There is a meeting proposed to take place in the next couple weeks with Ramey Kemp and Associates on behalf of Flowers Plantation to discuss alternate plans if this is still accurate. However, the feedback we've gotten from the DOT indicates there are no other plans that will correct the traffic and pedestrian safety issue. This is the best plan. The DOT presented this plan to the Johnston County Board of Commissioners seeking their approval to move forward with the plan if they were to receive the okay from Flowers Plantation. The vote was unanimous to stand behind the DOT. Most important, the DOT was ready to secure the funding and begin breaking ground during the summer of 2016. We later met on March 14, 2016 as observers of a meeting with the DOT and Ramey Kemp and Associates to present this plan. We provided you guys notes from that meeting. I'd also like to highlight something from those notes that where Mr. Tim said he does not recommend flashing lights to tell a kid to walk across the road to the school when it's not stopping a car. We received an email from Tim Little confirming there was another meeting that took place with Ramey Kemp and Associates in June of 2016 where Flowers Plantation was going to provide an alternate plan to the DOT plan. What was the outcome of that meeting? All we see is more delaying tactics by Flowers Plantation to prevent the implementation of safety infrastructure that would have come at no cost to them. They do not want the Riverdale Towns Parkway to be used as a state-maintained road so that cars and buses can enter to the rear of the school and eliminate the queuing on Buffalo Road. The DOT indicated the road must be state-maintained for buses to travel on the road. This is not the case for the other private roads within the village. Buses are able to travel within the village community to pick up and drop off children at 5 different locations twice a day. Those are private roads. Flowers Plantation requested this to fulfill their obligation to provide safe transportation options for the children residing within the village. Flowers Plantation did not have to change its private roads to become state maintained. Can you please explain to me how making Riverdale Towns Parkway accessible to school buses would be any different? There is a consistent pattern of insufficient infrastructure rooted in the unchecked and unfettered development by Flowers Plantation. From our perspective, the current problems are clear and glaring indicators of pending disaster that will be a replay of Wake County's challenging. Currently, there are approximately 15,000 residents in Flowers Plantation alone. That is responsible for 50% of the growth increase in Johnston County, according to the land use study of 2014, of which 50% of Johnston County taxes come from Flowers Plantation area. Flowers Plantation's master plan forecasts approximately 30,000 residents within the next 5 to 10 years, according to the Ramey Kemp and Associates presentation to the County Commissioners meeting back in November of 2015 regarding the 42 widening project. Johnston County is growing at a rate of 750 kids a year. That is a school a year, yet there is no land identified on which to build future schools for Flowers Plantation area. Our assigned schools of Riverdale Elementary School, Corinth Holders High School, and Archer Lodge Middle School are at or well above capacity after building additional classroom extensions. Everyone we have spoken to acknowledges the problem and the negative impact on the community, our children's education, and our property values. Unfortunately, there are no sustainable solutions on the table. There are only school expansions that will serve as a band-aid to deal with the existing overcrowding. This doesn't begin to address the arterial wound of future growth that requires a tourniquet. The growth management report written by the Johnston County Growth Management Committee in September of 2006 predicted that our schools would reach a 2-year warning by 2008, that our schools would reach max capacity. Right here indicates Riverdale Elementary and the years, and where we're at today, we're above the 980. We're in the red. Which begs the question, why wasn't the funding secured then to obtain land required for schools and the growth? Here's Corinth Holders High, or it was the middle at the time, I guess. It says K through 8, but this master plan was approved by the county, correct? The forecast and population growth to today's date is on target. The county saw this coming 11 years ago and nothing was done to accommodate infrastructure for the growing population or to put a pause on approved developments to allow the infrastructure to catch up. Until today, Flowers Plantation has not proposed a plan and it's been 11 years. Due to our location in the unincorporated area of Johnston County, residents of Flowers Plantation pay only county taxes. The absence of municipal taxes advertises an incentive to move to Flowers Plantation. As a Flowers Plantation resident and homeowner, you are required to pay into a nonprofit organization called the Foundation that is supposed to fund infrastructure of streets and maintenance, utilities for common use areas, etc. Yet, as homeowners in the community, we do not have a say in how these funds are used. The cost of the foundation fee can increase at any time without a vote from the homeowners who are required to be members. An increase just took place effective 2016 from $125 a year to $160. With no municipality or elected officials to represent us, we are beholden to Flowers Plantation as our acting government. We pay astronomical HOA fees for infrastructure and services that a town would otherwise provide. While water, sewer, and trash are offered within the village, the emergency services and first responders required to support such a large and growing population is simply inadequate. The foundation has communicated through legal representatives that there are no plans for more schools, there are no plans for sidewalks, there are no plans, although this is exactly what they are advertising on their website to potential buyers. This and many other marketing ploys brought me here. We have no municipal representation that helps get funding for schools, infrastructure, etc. We rely on Archer Lodge Fire Department and Johnston County Sheriff's Department for emergency and law enforcement services. With a population of 15,000 and growing in comparison to Clayton, it's at approximately 16,000, we obviously need municipal representation. We should be able to count on the elected officials in the county in which we pay property taxes to fill the gap where the developer has failed. Unfortunately, we have hit one roadblock after another because the power and the influence of the developer has over the community, the DOT, Johnston County. Our perception is Flowers Plantation seems to remain exempt from smart and responsible economic growth standards. What we are proposing today is that you help us by standing behind the Board of Education, the DOT, and the plan for Riverdale Elementary School. Help us in our efforts to gain representation that correlates with the growth of our community, and to hold the developer of Flowers Plantation accountable for infrastructure required to ensure sustainable and safe communities for our families. Through all our research and communications over the past year, it's obvious that the only variable in infrastructure requirements equation that can be controlled is the speed of the development. We are not saying we want growth to stop. We are saying you have a civic duty as elected representatives of the voters living in unincorporated portions of this county that make up 50% of its growth to ensure the growth is done responsibly and at a manageable pace that ensures the safety and education of our children. And now I have some questions for the board. What more must we as Star Clayton do to achieve the change? Do you agree that there is a problem? Accidents, liability, unsafe for our children, unsafe for our commuters. It's only a matter of time before a fatality. As the members of the board who have been elected to handle problems like this, what are you going to do about the lack of safety infrastructure at Riverdale Elementary? Money is being poured into schools that are now under capacity. Are we going to redistrict? What is Johnston County doing about the potential fire hazard considering overpopulation in our schools? What is the difference between buses that travel on private roads within the village at Flowers Plantation versus buses that would travel on Riverdale Town's Parkway? Who is ultimately liable when another accident happens because there is a lack of safety infrastructure? At this time, we want to thank the board and take this opportunity to thank you in hearing our presentation and our efforts, because if it doesn't change, we'll be back.